If you're a responsible gun owner looking for a quick way to seriously improve your shooting skills, you're in the right place. I'm Brian Morris, retired Green Beret with over 25 years of military and combat experience. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal 3 shooting skills that will overturn everything you previously knew about firing a weapon. When hard work and practice is applied, these techniques will double or even triple your accuracy, while also dramatically increasing your shooting speed. And I'm actually going to let Alec, who is one of the good folks who noticed significant improvements in his shooting skills, tell you more about his experience. As you're about to see, Alec's newfound accuracy, speed, and consistency have shocked and amazed everyone at his local gun range. But first, I want to make clear the importance of the skills you're about to discover. These skills could actually one day save your life or the life of someone you love. And in order for that to happen, I want you to imagine the following.
Think fast. A lone deranged gunman has just gone on a shooting rampage at the mall. You're there with your wife and small daughter. He's now less than 25 feet away, pointing his gun straight at you. You could be seconds away from getting shot and left to bleed out. No longer any protection for your loved ones. Luckily, you have your pistol on you, and less than 1/4 of a second to draw your gun, see the target, decide to shoot, start moving your gun to position, get the target into your sights, and finally pull the trigger the instant your gun reaches position. Make no mistake, you will have no room for error, no time to second-guess your shooting skills, and definitely no time to hesitate. Every small decision you make in less than a 1/4 of a second determines if you and those around you live, or your family just becomes another statistic. How confident are you that you have the skills and training it takes to save the life of your loved ones and of all those around you? Stick with me, because in this video I'll reveal 3 battle-proven shooting techniques shown to me by Brian Morris, a decorated vet with over 25 years of combat experience for which being under fire was an everyday experience. These techniques will help you double or even triple your accuracy effective immediately and dramatically increase your chances of staying alive in a life-or-death situation. You'll discover how to crush the handicap of being a second or two behind the criminal by using your body's instinctive movements to improve your speed and accuracy, and how to gain the steady arm and sharp shooting skills of an expert marksman, which, by the way, could make your groups go from this to this. My name is Alec Deacon. In 2013, I laid the foundation of Survivopedia, a tiny community for those who seek self-reliance and protection against the hidden dangers that threaten our rights. That tiny community has changed the lives of over 500,000 people, all of which I've come to consider my second family. Now, before I get to the actual techniques, allow me to better introduce Brian Morris, the man who actually made me aware of them in the first place. Brian served multiple combat tours all around the globe. He's a weapons and sniper operations expert, an anti-terrorism and personal security specialist, and a decorated member of the United States Green Berets. But don't take my word for it. Here are the documents to prove it. The Bronze Star, the Army Commendation Medal, the Joint Service Commendation Medal. All were earned under fire. But above all, Brian is a man who bled for our country and fought for freedom and justice. As you can see, Brian is the real deal, and today he's revealing the 3 most important shooting techniques for improving your accuracy and making sure you can step up and protect your loved ones when it matters most. So let's get down to the actual techniques. The first one is called ICS, or Instinct Combat Shooting, and it's something the Israeli Army bases its advanced marksmanship training program on. As you probably know, a country like Israel is always at risk of a hooded terrorist or stealthy suicide bombers, especially in large public areas. Since there is little an Israeli officer can do before the bad guy makes a move, it puts him in a disadvantage of being a second or two behind the criminal. However, ICS is the skill needed to overcome this time lag with speed and accuracy. The ICS method was developed in response to study results showing that when facing a life-threatening situation, a person's nervous system is automatically engaged. When this happens, because of the various mental and functional effects taking place, that person's fine motor skills are lost. Why is that? To put it simply, it's how we're designed to react when our lives are at risk. Our bodies automatically switch to survival mode. Adrenaline starts pumping. Our heart rate skyrockets to somewhere between 150 to 175 BPM. At this point, we experience loss of near and peripheral vision. When the body goes into survival mode, every function not essential for your survival will be bypassed. It is during this time where ICS is most effective. The key to ICS is to gain muscle memory of the point where your firing hand first touches your handgun to the point of battery at which your handgun is ready to fire. Normally, this is when your non-firing support hand touches your firing hand. In target shooting, we are taught to focus on the front sight post, or to align the front and rear side aperture and focus on the sight and not the target. This technique works great on range, but in a real-life scenario, the time it takes to focus on your sight could make the difference between shooting and being shot. Also, research has shown that the adrenaline rush you will get from having to draw your weapon may completely wipe out your ability to focus. The significant difference between instinct shooting and aligning your target is that the focus is 100% on the target. Just like Brian's instructor used to tell him, aim small, miss small. ICS is basically the same philosophy. You want to focus on your target and then on the smallest point possible on that target. You see, in real life, a target is unpredictable and will move positions without warning, but focusing on the target itself allows you to follow it and continue to shoot until it no longer poses a threat. That's what ICS is about. I'll show you how you can take advantage of your body's instinctive movements so you can master ICS in just a few moments. But first, let me share with you special technique number 2. Taught and used by elite special forces all over the world, this technique aims at developing better marksmanship by training your nervous system and more specifically, your vision. Here's what I mean by that. You see, most of us share a major setback that translates directly into how well we can fire a weapon. So what is this setback? Quite simply, the fact that one eye works significantly better than the other. It's because of this small detail that you sometimes see a blurred extra image a couple of inches to the side of the clear one. This happens because both eyes cannot work well enough together in order to allow the brain to combine both video streams into one. Now, this isn't an issue when you're at the shooting range and you can aim using only one eye. However, the U.S. Army published research showing that our nervous system responds to high-stress, life-and-death combat situations by forcing both our eyes open. It's why the ability to use both eyes together is vital for both situational awareness and accurately identifying and seeing targets. And here's the good news. It doesn't matter how old a person is, or if he or she can barely see anything without lenses or glasses. Absolutely anyone can train their vision to work better. And that's because vision is different from eyesight. Look, eyesight is nothing less than your ability to see something clearly. Vision, however, goes beyond that. Vision is the understanding of what is seen. So, what can you do in order to develop better vision and gain sniper-like accuracy? First, you need to control your gaze stabilization. This is your ability to gaze fixed and focused on a target. And second, you need to create binocular vision, the ability to see with both your eyes instead of just one. I'll show you how you can get your hands on the exact step-by-step process for training your vision and developing your instinct combat shooting, right after I've presented you all 3 combative shooting techniques. So let's jump to the third right now, which is tactical follow-through. Now, you may or may not have heard about this yourself. In fact, when Brian first told me about it, I ignorantly assumed I was already an expert in this. But then he asked me to do a quick 7-yard shooting drill. How hard could that be, I thought? Putting 9 rounds into a paper target sitting 7 yards in front of me? But then, looking at the results, I felt kind of embarrassed, to be honest. My groups were scattered and all over the place. Here's the actual target. This may not look too bad, but as Brian pointed out, when facing an actual threat, the ability to constantly and consistently aim your rounds with laser-like accuracy could turn you from mourned victim to survivor. As one of his instructors once pointed out to him, it doesn't matter who fires the most bullets over the ground occupied by the enemy. It's he who fires the most well-aimed shots who'll achieve victory. Look, when it comes to marksmanship, you probably already know the fundamentals. Align sights on target and then press the trigger without disrupting the sight picture. If you're shooting a paper target, that's where things stop. If, however, you're facing someone trying to hurt you or someone dear to you, that is only half the process. The second and crucial half is the tactical follow-through. In a fight, you must always stay on your toes and be prepared to fire another round. After shooting the first bullet, tactical follow-through says you should always check if your target is down or if you need to shoot again. If he's down, follow him down, but never stop pointing your gun at the assailant until you've made sure he is no longer a threat. Once you've made sure you've eliminated the threat, you need to look for others. While doing this, your head needs to stay up and your gun slightly down, out of your field of vision. First and foremost, make sure there are no additional foes. While scanning the area, be sure not to flag innocent people, meaning to point your gun at anyone around you. Brian also suggests checking your weapon status at this time. Is it jammed? Do you have enough ammo left? Only after you've made sure all the threats have been eliminated and your weapon is functioning and full on ammo should you holster. This is what tactical follow-through is all about. So, did these techniques help me improve my shooting skills at all? Remember how my previous groups looked like? Well, here they are again, except this time I've put to use everything Brian taught me. This may not seem much to you, but sometimes a couple of inches make all the difference in the world. The difference between life and death, between being a survivor or just another victim. Look, I don't know about you, but I don't have all the time to spend every day in the shooting range and train and train and train in order to be a better shooter. Yet Brian showed me how to make the most of every single minute I spend there and every single bullet I shoot. And if I can get this kind of results, well, anyone can do it. And today, you have the opportunity to achieve the exact same results. Let's face it, we're living through some dangerous times. Terrorist attacks, random shootings, violence and brutality have become part of our everyday lives. It's why I think now, perhaps even more than ever, America needs its citizens armed and ready. After all, right now, the bad guys are training so that when they meet you, they beat you. Shouldn't you be doing the same? Training yourself and seeking out instructions in instant combat shooting, developing better marksmanship by improving your vision, and being aware of the tactical follow-through are guaranteed to help. But these skills are just the tip of the iceberg. Unfortunately, the level of training you'll get from your average marksmanship instructor is not standard. It varies greatly from instructor to instructor, depending on their individual experience and backgrounds. Just the fact that the number of certified instructors has skyrocketed recently should make you wonder, what is the quality of their training? Where did they receive their certifications or knowledge to instruct? Can they explain to their students why it's better to learn the skills that will help them with the threats they're likely to face versus the skills they want to learn? Are they experienced enough to know that what might work for one person will not work for someone else? Now, if you're just looking for someone to teach you how to shoot a weapon, be it a rifle, a pistol, a shotgun, or whatever, safely and somewhat accurately, most marksmanship instructors will do just fine. But if you're looking to get scenario-based training, the kind that forces you to shoot, move, and communicate at the same time, a good idea would be to sign up for one of these 3- or 4-day courses that simulate real-life shootings and the changing scenarios that come with them. From what I know, these courses are being held with experienced instructors who have done this in the real world. However, there are downsides even to these classes. First of all, since you can't hope to be the only student there, direct interaction with the instructor will be limited. Plus, these classes are often highly paced and provide so much information in a short period of time that it's not always possible to retain every bit of it. And last but not least, there's always the fact that you'd have to shell out well over $1,000 for a spot on one of these courses. It's why for most Americans today, taking part in one would be luxury they cannot afford. Now, I don't know how you feel about this, but to me, this just seems unfair. I mean, there's a reason why our founding fathers wanted us armed, and wealth should not be a deciding factor when it comes to learning how to properly defend yourself and your loved ones. Right now, the threat of finding yourself in a situation where you may have to defend yourself and others from outside threats is greater than it has ever been, and all indications are the situation is only getting worse. Active shooter scenarios are becoming commonplace. Coming from either an act of terrorism or just a deranged gunman, you can't deny that these events happen seemingly on a daily basis. Luckily, me and Brian are a lot alike. We both knew it would be irresponsible of us not to share this information with others. We knew that armed with the proper skills, every law-abiding citizen could one day rise as a true hero for his community. It's because of this, Brian and I decided to combine our forces and allow people access to the exceptional shooting techniques used by America's finest. Techniques like a less common but also important aspect of gun training that will give you the ability to sway any situation and battle in your favor. By learning this, you'll harness an inborn ability we all share, but only the best get to use, the one to deal with hardship and pain. This will not only make you a better guardian for your loved ones, but will ultimately transform you into a better, more efficient, and happier person. A down-and-dirty target drill that can turn even the ultimate greenhorn into an elite shooter. This alone is a fail-safe method for getting pinpoint accuracy and going from buckshot to bullseye on every shot, and never wasting a bullet ever again. The both lamps open doctrine, taught to and by the Special Forces. This procedure shows you how to channel your autopilot survival instincts if caught off guard in a shooting situation. Or the nasty little secret about the most overlooked part of combat shooting training. This is a hard truth to accept by most people, but applying this to your training will grant you the life-saving ability to move quickly under fire while still maintaining flawless accuracy. All these techniques come from Brian's 25 years of military and combat experience. These are battle-tested techniques proven to work, altered specifically to fit the needs of people like you and me. In order to make them available to everyone, we packaged them inside the only tactical shooting training program on the market. That program is called Spec Ops Shooting, a Green Beret's guide to combat shooting mastery and active shooter defense. The Spec Ops Shooting is a simple step-by-step, with no fluff or filler material added, shooting course that can help improve anyone's skills and put them on the fast track to becoming a master marksman with minimum fuss. Let me offer you another glance at what else Brian will reveal inside this course. How to use your body's brain-programmed movements in order to master the Israeli combat shooting technique the fastest and quickest way possible. Why the aiming system you're currently using is most likely dead wrong, and how to fix it instantly. The 3 shockingly simple mistakes everyday Americans make that puts a target sign on their back, along with some common sense, yet completely overlooked aspects on how to keep a low profile. The hair-raising truth about the best way to deal with an active shooter, and how to conduct yourself when engaged so you avoid being mistaken from the killer. Why self-induced stress will help you keep a clear head and avoid entering a panic mode when engaged in a shootout. Furthermore, Brian will take you inside the mind of a terrorist and show you the 7-stage terrorist planning cycle, and show you a key element for thwarting an attack and stopping a potential mass casualty situation. Plus, you'll discover 6 telltale signs of an ongoing terror plot. The more people know about this, the fewer soft targets for terrorists to attack. And every shooting technique Brian introduces is followed by a detailed training plan you can apply right away in order to enhance that skill. He'll show you everything from shooting stances, grips, 2-hand, 1-hand, offhand, explanation of firing techniques, how to identify your dominant eye, flat-range stationary single-target shooting drills, flat-range stationary multiple-target shooting drills, flat-range moving multiple targets in-depth shooting drills, multi-silhouette target in-depth double tap, flat-range moving targets lateral shooting drills, and lots more. Nothing has been left out. We arranged the Spec Ops shooting program like this because it allows you to really take your time and go through the information at your own pace. Not to mention splitting it all up into small chunks makes it a lot easier for you to absorb. You can go through one skill at a time and put it into practice by going through the training drill Brian constructed to specifically target the fast and easy development of that specific skill. That way you can start noticing progress right from day one. By now you're probably wondering what it will take to grab your copy of the Spec Ops shooting program. Let me ask you this. How much is the safety and protection of you and your family worth to you? How would you feel if tomorrow, next week, or even next year, you find yourself in a situation where people's lives are depending on you, and realize if you took that tactical shooting program, you could have been their guardian angel, yet you chose not to? If you think about it, when it really comes down to it, this isn't about money. Dollars and cents have absolutely no value when you compare them with health, security, and protection for you and your family. There's no way someone can put a price on that. It's because of this, deciding on a price on the Spec Ops shooting program was not easy. So what we did was hand out a few samples of the program to some random folks from the range and see what they think of it. We gave them 2 full months in order to make sure they have more than enough time to go through all the ins and outs of the program. After this period elapsed, we got back to them and asked to give us a rough estimate of how much they think a program like this should cost. Now here's the thing, these were low to middle class people for which money was tight. It's why we were surprised to see some put the price tag as high as $250 or $199. The lowest price someone suggested was $75. And honestly, knowing how much work Brian put into making this program the absolute best on the market, selling it for that much would be a no-brainer. However, Brian and I decided we cannot in good conscience sell it for that much. After all, the whole reason we put the program together was to offer people a proper and affordable alternative to the expensive and inefficient methods out there. So after a lot of back and forth between the two of us, we finally decided on what we think is more than a fair price, $39. That means as long as this video is up, you have the chance to grab the Spec Ops shooting program for just $39. Once you grab the Spec Ops shooting program, we want you to consider the next 60 days your free trial period. Here's what that means. If at any time during this 60-day period you realize this program is not what you'd hoped it would be, we will refund your money right away, no questions asked. And it could be the results you're seeing are not happening fast enough for you. Or it could be that you're not starting to feel more confident in your shooting abilities. Or perhaps you're not noticing improved accuracy. It really doesn't matter the reason. If you are not 100% satisfied, just write an email to our support department at support@specopsshooting.com and we'll make sure to give you your money back. We won't ask any questions or try to change your mind. None of that. It will be your choice entirely, and we will respect it. As you can see, we've tried our best to remove all the risk on your behalf. There's really nothing you have to lose by trying this Spec Ops shooting program. So just go ahead and click on the big Add to Cart button below and get started right away. One last thing. If you click the button now, you will also get 3 bonus courses valued at $27 each, just for trying out the Spec Ops shooting program today. The first bonus course is Green Beret Home Defense. Ever wondered what a retired Green Beret does to make his home impenetrable to looters, thieves, and criminals? This course will show you practical and extremely powerful measures you can take right now in order to make sure you never become a home invasion victim. For example, on page 5 you'll discover how to outsmart the 5 audacious yet super effective counterploy tactics home invaders adore. Page 7 will reveal a simple, counterintuitive method to hone your acute situational awareness skill so you can always be one step ahead of any potential perpetrators. And once you'll turn to page 9, you'll understand why reactive training, or learning how to clear your home after someone has broken in, is downright useless. And even more, how to make sure you're never faced with such a difficult situation, and the best and safest possible way for you to react in the unlikely case you'll ever do. Plus, some say because of their maneuverability and easy access, handguns make the best home defense weapons, while there are people who swear by their lives the sound of a shotgun being racked is enough deterrent. But which is the best type of firearm for defending your home? You'll find out at page 12. Even more, on page 15, you'll get to uncover the sweet spots inside your house where you can hide your guns so you're never more than a few feet away from one in case of an emergency. And last but not least, you'll learn how to urgently correct the 4 naive mistakes you could be unconsciously making right now that could turn your home into a target. Now let's get to bonus course number 2, Frontline First Aid. Sure, you might be pretty good with CPR and regular Band-Aid first aid, but how would you fare with a real life-threatening gunshot wound? What if you faced the squirting, spurting, bloody mess of a gaping blackish red hole in someone's body? There are 3 main types of bullet wounds you're likely to have to deal with. Number 1, the sucking chest wound. Number 2, the head wound. Amazingly, not all bullet-caused head injuries are fatal, and there have been cases where people recovered after bullet skull penetrations. and that's just because they got the right kind of first aid treatment. Number 3, the abdominal wound, probably the type of wound that requires the fastest response of all, since abdominal wounds tend to bleed abundantly. Inside the gunshot first aid bonus course, you'll find out the exact steps you need to take to stabilize the victim in order to make sure he has maximum survival chances, how to control and stop a person's bleeding, the wise man's guide to preventing wound infection and other complications, and small tips that will lead to faster healing with less scarring. Plus, you'll discover the fireman's carry, a special technique that will show you how to pick up and carry a person to safety, even if you can barely lift a grocery bag. And last but not least, bonus number 3, the DIY Gunsmith's Handbook. Since the cost of a single firearm cleaning and inspection at your common American gunsmith can range from $50 to $100, this special report alone will certainly cover the entire $39 you'll invest today. Look, during Brian's time in the military, he spent a great deal of time on cleaning and preventive maintenance on firearms like his life depended on it, because, well, it did. A dirty firearm can most certainly affect the way it functions. For instance, a dirty magazine can cause failure to feed malfunctions. Improperly oiled internals can wreak havoc on trigger operations. And if any of these would have happened on a mission, well, you can imagine the consequences. It's why you too should regularly clean and maintain your guns. Not only will this make your gun last longer and perform better, but it may also save your life one day. And with the DIY Gunsmith's Handbook, you'll no longer have to rely on anyone but yourself when it comes to taking care of your guns. Brian transferred all his knowledge into this special report to make things just as easy and intuitive as washing your teeth. You'll get everything there is to know, from his top 8 cost-efficient, best-quality gun cleaning kits to look for, to how to avoid getting trapped by false advertising that forces you to pay too much for a cleaning kit that does not meet your needs, and all the way to a step-by-step, pics included, visual guide on how to clean and maintain in pristine condition guns like the S&W 649 revolver, the Sig Sauer pistol, the AK-47 rifle, or the Ruger 1022, just to name a few. Now let me do a quick recap of all you're getting for $39. First and foremost, you're getting Spec Ops Shooting, a Green Beret's Guide to Combat Shooting Mastery and Active Shooter Defense, along with the Green Beret Home Defense and the Frontline First Aid course, plus the DIY Gunsmith's Handbook. Remember, the bonuses alone go for $27 each. That's $81 in total, and you're getting them on the house once you click the Add to Cart button below and kickstart your Spec Ops Shooting training. As you can see, Brian and I really meant it when we said wealth should not be a deciding factor when it comes to getting professional gun training. Look, I honestly don't know if there is another program out there like the one Brian created, one that contains the same specific tactical shooting techniques used by America's finest, that were explicitly stripped of their military lingo and boiled down to their absolute essentials, so even someone who's never held a gun in his hand will not think it's beyond his understanding. One that doesn't rush your training and allows you to absorb the information efficiently at your own desired pace. One that once you're done with it, not only will you become a better shooter, but you'll also feel like a better person overall. But let's just look at what other alternatives you can try, or that you've probably already tried. First of all, you could try to master tactical shooting techniques all by yourself. There are a lot of training materials you can find on the internet, and even though most are pure junk, some are quite good, I must admit. But there are 2 problems here. 1, you have to be in the know-how in order to tell the good stuff from the bad. And 2, sorting through all this information will take up a lot of time and frustration. Then there is, of course, the alternative of paying someone like Brian for personal combat shooting lessons. A good instructor that knows his stuff will charge you at least $1,500 for 6 to 8 hours of training. In this brief interval, he's going to jam in as many techniques as he can, and you'll experience the true meaning of information overload. Your brain will be forced to deal with more information than it's able to process in a very short period of time. And a few days after you'll have taken this super expensive training, you'll notice that most of the techniques taught to you that day are foggy at best, if not gone completely, along with your hard-earned money. But if you're really smart, you'll notice there's really no need to break the bank in order to get qualified training. All you have to do is click the Add to Cart button below and start your Spec Ops training right away. Don't forget, we made sure to remove any risk on your behalf by offering you a full 60-day evaluation period of the program itself. If at any moment during these 60 days you decide you'd rather have your money back, you will have it, and you'll get to keep all the information you learned up until that moment. There's really nothing for you to lose and everything to gain. So go ahead and click the Add to Cart button now. I'll be waiting for you with a special message and another bonus that's too hot to mention here. Right now, you're at a crossroads, and what you decide right now could ultimately affect not just you and your family's security and protection, but God knows how many other people as well. The way I see it, you have 3 simple paths to choose from. Path number 1, do nothing. Let this video end. Leave this page behind and hope such a time will never come when yourself or your family will have to face a real life and death shooting situation. Path number 2. Take the 3 techniques you've learned from this video, practice them on and on and on, become a master of them, and use them as pillars of your tactical shooting technique. I would be extremely happy if you even built on them. My only advice here would be to make sure that you learn the good stuff, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And then there's path number 3. Grab your copy of the Spec Ops shooting program along with its complimentary bonuses and enjoy the benefits of learning the insides of combat shooting training from someone who's actually done it. Just click the Add to Cart button below now, and you can get started right now.